This in-game skin ultimately led to an illustrator getting fired for being a feminist. Yeah, this statement sounds absolutely absurd, but yet it happened. And so today I just wanted to detail the chain of events that led to company Project Moon's decision to fire artist Val Mori from working on their game Limbus Company. And I also wanted to talk about the situation surrounding it. But before I get started, I do want to give a disclaimer. There's currently a lot of misinformation being thrown around, and I just want to try my best not to misrepresent what happened. And so most of my sources are from Reddit and Twitter, and I will try to link them down below. I'm also not the most familiar with Limbus Company / Project Moon, and so I wanted to let you guys know that I'll be presenting most of what is happening from the viewpoint of an outsider looking in. And so with this disclaimer out of the way, let's discuss the powder keg that I guess led up to all of this. And so what many attribute to the beginning of this entire controversy was Project Moon's controversial technical decisions. And these technical decisions included a bunch of nerfs, stealth patches, and overall a lack of communication / typos. And these factors ultimately frustrated the fans a lot. In particular, a lot of fans on forum DC Inside, which is a career website that's kind of a blend between 4chan and Reddit, were rapidly growing discontent with the game and some of the decisions that Project Moon was making with Limbus Company. And you see, this is where this skin comes in. So you see, Limbus Company's summer event rolls around, and so you see for most gacha games, traditionally the norm for these events are to have quote-unquote fan service, which is usually the case of having female characters in like swimsuits / bikinis, and male characters shirtless or in swim trunks of sorts. And so a lot of users didn't expect much different for Limbus Company. However, when the event did roll around, a subset of users noticed that the skin / art for one of the female characters, Ishmael, had her in a diving suit, instead of, the usual bikinis of sorts. And for these users, this was in stark contrast with Sinclair's splash art, which did have him shirtless, like, traditional gacha games. And you see, these skins were ultimately the tipping point for a subset of users on DC Inside. And so you know what they did? They went on a crusade. And like a crusade, the users wanted a witch hunt. And so they initially targeted and looked up the user who made the Ishmael skin, assuming that they did this as a result of rampant feminism or something. And this is the most whack part. You see, when they found the artist that made the Ishmael skin, they ended up finding out that the artist was male. And so they ended up switching targets. And this is when they decided to target a CG artist who was, female. You see, this CG artist had, in the past, been associated with some tweets that were about feminism. But these activities and associations were 5 years ago, keep in mind, and are currently deleted. But regardless, users found these tweets. And as a result, they used this, to fuel the fire. And before we move on, I do want to note that there is a lot of misinformation and information spreading about whether or not the CG artist was associated with radical feminism groups in South Korea, such as Megalia. And personally, I don't entirely know, so I will not comment on that until more information is out. But yeah, eventually users ended up finding these tweets, and so as a result, they ended up eventually complaining and review bombing Project Moon's website, as well as ultimately going as far as to protest in person in front of Project Moon's headquarters. And this ultimately resulted in Project Moon feeling like they had to do something. And so ultimately, at 12 a.m. KST, or 11 a.m. EST, Limbus Company's official Twitter dropped these tweets. And so for those of you who can't read Korean, myself included, a translated version has been floating around. And so some of these translations are machine translated, and some are hand translated. But basically, they address a lot of the issues that were mentioned before, especially the technical issues. Project Moon apologized for the stealth nerfs, gameplay bugs, and overall lack of communication with the fans. And at the end of the memo though, Project Moon notes that they fired the CG artist as a result of a violation of internal rules. And so that's, I guess, where we're currently at right now. You see, at the time of recording, the post has over 30 million views, and well, a lot of interaction. Twitter and Reddit, as well as just the internet in general, is in outrage, with many people questioning and even petitioning Project Moon's decision to terminate the CG artist's contract. And I guess this is where the current state of affairs is. There's a lot of uncertainty and ambiguity regarding the future for Project Moon and Limbus Company. Like, no one knows for sure what's going to happen next. And so yeah, I guess I just wanted to talk about this because this has been making waves in the gacha game community. And so yeah, thanks for watching. Until next time, Dwarlock signing off.